Marvel Rivals, based on the critically acclaimed game of 2016, Overwatch, which has taken great inspiration from both the good and the bad. By utilizing the previous hero shooter formula, NetEase has strengthened the foundation in order to build a towering success. This is something that Blizzard attempted, and then subsequently failed at. What do you think Blizzard meant by making their only Indian hero autistic? But that isn't the only place where Blizzard's folly was. With Overwatch, you had the misfortune of playing in first person. What this meant was that you could never see the most important part of your character, the $50 skin that you purchased. Marvel Rivals has addressed this issue by making the game third person exclusive. Now, I no longer need to ask my friend to stand still while he uses his cool new Widowmaker skin while I appreciate the fine details. Thank you, NetEase. Unlike many other Americans, I for one welcome you, our Chinese overlords, into the Western world. The great thing about Marvel Rivals is that it's free. In order to support this game, we should all purchase the Battle Pass and consider liquidating our assets into NetEase stocks. Thank you, Mr. Dingley. We'll make you a trillionaire by the end of this year. Back in my day, if you openly read a comic book, you were getting a swirly. Nowadays, comic book memorabilia has become normalized. The West truly has fallen. Billions must consume. The Vanguard class is a male-dominated field, boasting a collection of raw masculinity. Your job is to take as much damage as possible for your team, and then, when you dive in 1v6, blame your supports for not healing you.
Excuse me, what the actual fuck?
The first tank on the list is Bruce Banner. He has the same horsepower as a Nissan Sentra. He uses a gun to do damage, and if you hit his ultimate ability, he turns green. Not very fond of green things, so I never press it. My teammates usually have some choice words for this behavior. Groot from the hit franchise Guys, I actually bought the skin for this show. Please like it, subscribe. Has a kit that allows him to crank 90s. Extremely useful for reaching those hard to access areas of the map. The best way to play Groot? Construct an average $1 million Toronto home. This will eventually attract the local slumlord who has the intentions of turning this into a 9-bedroom rental unit, giving you the perfect opportunity to kill them. When I think of the average American, I think of someone who's morbidly obese. Suffice to say, I wasn't exactly pleased to see Captain America walking around and not in a mobility scooter. From what I hear in the source material, he's even friends with a black. Instead of using a gun to kill you, he just runs at you very aggressively. Venom is my main tank, because not only can I dive in and do absolutely nothing to the enemy backline, I can also leave 8 seconds later and do it over and over again until the enemy team eventually wins. Doctor Strange serves as an excellent litmus test for your teammates' hardware. The sheer strain his portals place on a system is enough to make me worry that I've turned my friend's humble 1060 into an IED. Thor is a DPS. Here's a quick history lesson. During the Yugoslav wars, landmines were used so heavily that it left parts of the Balkans completely uninhabitable. Thankfully, all of those parts are in Bosnia, and no one would willingly live in Bosnia. In 1999, the Ottawa Treaty effectively banned the use of anti-personnel mine by all countries that signed. Penny Parker uses mines to restrict her enemies' movements. Penny Parker is a war criminal. Okay, imagine there's a really cool transition into the DPS section. DPS is the most important role in the game, because as a DPS, you can never be wrong. Dove in and failed to kill the enemy support? Blame your tank for not taking enough aggro. Died while ulting 1v6? Blame your support for not respawning faster. You did the least amount of damage on your entire team? Blame the other DPS for damage farming. DPS has one job. Impress the underage Pocky healer you purchased from egirl.gg. Hawkeye and Hela are the only two heroes you can play effectively without firing a single neuron. And for proof, I've set up this demonstration. Look at this creature.
In his ravenous hatred, he found no peace.
Not a single thought behind those eyes. And yet she hits clip after clip. Iron Fist has severe Chinese bias. Harnessing the power of Kung Fu and potentially magical penis wine, Why the fuck did I write this? Not only is he capable of turning my Jeff into a shark fin stew, he can then instant transmission behind me while I'm 20 feet in the air. Iron Man. Jarvis,
Sir,
fly me into the enemy team.
acknowledged.
Jarvis, blast Fetty Wap from the JBL speaker. Jarvis, enter gooning protocols. Stroke speed 6, safety's on.
It would be my pleasure.
Jarvis, solo ult the enemy Jeff.
Acknowledged.
Jarvis,
Sir,
clip that. Moon Knight. Is schizophrenic. No more.
You're so bad.
I came so many times.
Playing Spider-Man can go one of two ways. You're either perfectly lore accurate, or
Ice cream gummy. Ice cream dust.
whatever this is. There's no middle ground between these two playstyles. Star-Lord is my most played DPS, primarily because I have severe, undiagnosed autism. The one thing you should know about Star-Lord is that throwing games is canonically consistent. If your team expresses any dissatisfaction with your performance, take solace in the knowledge that you're embodying the role flawlessly. Black Panther. The first time I picked this character, I was chased around by a Doctor Strange who would hit me with his melee while typing racial obscenities to me. I can't say I enjoyed the experience, but I did enjoy playing Black Panther. Squirrel Girl has over 2,000 images. Magic is your quintessential montage-making character. To play her properly, pick a song that you enjoy. Next, engage, die, spam type your team, and repeat. Black Widow is your classic precision shooter. Her goal is to stay as far back as possible and use her positioning to her advantage. Scarlet Witch is the ideal choice for players who are visually impaired. With cutting-edge Bluetooth precision, the burden of accuracy is eliminated from your gameplay. I personally recommend securing your mouse with tape, and once your character begins to resemble a Dyson Cyclone V10, you'll know you're playing it correctly. Psylocke is your generic ninja hero. She's able to briefly go Wolverine. Punisher might be the most boring character in the entire game. In a game where there's literal gods and celestial hosts, you are forced to play as the average LA cop.
No, 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 no! Wait!
All DPS have their niches, that is when played in a proper team. But the reality is, you'll queue into a game, log in the character you want, and so will the 5 other players. So, you're better off learning the last role on the list. Playing support is like being Kiryu Kazuma. You exist in a perpetual state of fear, as at any given moment you could be beaten to death by an Asian man. Anyone can play support, but the sheer force of will required to excel at the role is monumental. Let's look at this skill distribution bell curve. On the far left, we have our underperformers. This group is predominantly composed of self-amputees who choose to play the game with one hand. The median is occupied by the majority, femboys. Statistically proficient, they exhibit notable improvements when affirmed by calling them good boys. However, excessive reinforcement may result in them leaving mid-game to clean up the mess they've made. And finally, the apex, the elite support players. With a collective average bench press of 405, these players are truly the rarest in the role. Our first strategist is Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock was built to be the perfect specimen. Blonde hair, pale complexion, sharp eyes. Where could I have possibly have heard this before? Adam Warlock is able to revive his teammates with his ult, a very similar ability to a German doctor from another game. If your DPS is busy drooling on themselves, then I highly recommend Loki. The great thing about his ult is that he can become anyone. Invisible Woman and Cloak and Dagger are similar in the sense that they heal you. They also have very extensive kits that supply your team with the support that they need. But most importantly, they have massive impacts on how the team performs. And they also have Rocket Raccoon. I have nothing to say about this character. If you play him, you really are making a positive impact. Mantis is able to put people to sleep. She can also alter the emotional state of people. Imagine, some unfortunate circumstances have led you to lose a limb. Fortunately, Mantis is there to help you. First, she'll directly modulate activity in the thalamus, anterior cingulate cortex, amygdala, and the spinal cord. This is to interrupt pain processing pathways. Next, she'll trigger a surge of endorphins to inhibit neurotransmitters for immediate pain relief. And finally, she'll then calm the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, lowering the cortisol and adrenaline levels in the body. Congratulations, you now have a lifelong opioid addiction. Luna Snow uses K-pop to battle her enemies. According to her lore, she's a musical diplomat. I'm sure that going to the Gaza Strip and hitting the Gangnam Style could single-handedly diffuse decades of conflict. And now, for the final hero, the apex predator, Nightmare Manifest. Jeff is a seasoned and well-trained criminal, rivaling even the greatest of fiends in history. His litany of offenses include multiple counts of homicide, assault with bodily fluids, human trafficking, and many, many more.
Gomen, Amanai. 俺は今、お前のために怒ってない。誰も憎んじゃいない。
Gameplay is largely inconsequential. Hawk, Tua, spit on that thing. As the majority of games that you'll play, you'll be burdened by 4 sentient liabilities whose cognitive function hovers just above fermented yogurt.
His highlight was a spawn room.
Followed by a racist. Playing with friends isn't any better. Then you'll have 6 racists. But at least you're not playing Overwatch. I hope you found this video informative, and if you're wondering why I haven't spoken about these heroes, stop thinking about it. Earlier last year, I had a sudden revelation. I have free will. No longer tethered to Bungie, I decided it was time to leap from my hypothetical nest and spread my metaphorical wings in search of something new. I found myself with ample time to churn out more content. And, if all goes well, maybe my knack for tossing out slurs online will eventually begin to pay my bills. So, please, like and subscribe. Your support can lead to the success of this channel and my dreams. That was pretty fucking gay.